Hello, everybody. Welcome to our mental well-being with the biblical perspective series. And for today, I want to talk about uncovering negative and unkind thoughts. We all know that we have many thoughts in our mind, and sometimes those thoughts are very negative and unkind. Let me first read to you a scripture in Psalms chapter 94, verse 19. When my anxious thoughts multiply within me, your comfort delights my soul. Anxious thoughts. We have many negative and unkind thoughts that comes to our heart and our mind. And these thoughts can really trouble us and put us down. Those thoughts will give us irrational fear. Have you ever looked at yourself sometimes and you wonder, why am I afraid for no good reason? Or something small happened to your life and you feel a lot of fear. Or unkind thoughts can cause us to have needless anxiety. You're just worried the whole day. And you're wondering, what can I do? Why am I having all this anxiety? Or have you had unnecessary sadness and you do not know why? Or something triggered you, some words or some action that somebody else did, and you became so sad. Or unkind and unhelpful thoughts will sometimes cause us to have mindless anger, and you're just angry, and you find yourself not being able to control yourself. And all these feelings from those negative thoughts cause us to have what? Unhelpful and harmful behaviors in our own life. So today I'm going to teach you first step, something simple. Okay, a model which I call the ABC model that will help us to deal with some of this unkind, unhelpful, and defeating thoughts. What's the ABC model? A is the activating event. B is our thoughts, our belief, connections, attitudes. And C are the consequences that comes from these beliefs and thought. And the theory is this: the way you relate to your thoughts about yourself and your world will strongly affect your feelings and behavior. So according to this model, A, B, C. Something happened, activating event. B is your thoughts, your belief. And when you have certain thoughts and belief, it's going to cause you to have certain harmful behavior. Now let me illustrate to you. How does our thoughts affect our feeling and behavior? Let's look at this example. So, activating event, something that happened. While you are asleep, you hear the window rattling. Now, if your thoughts or your belief is, there's a ghost, or there's a robber trying to break in, C, how would you feel? You'll feel anxious. Oh no, something is going to happen to me. And then C, the behavior, what will you do? You will cover your head with your blanket or run to your brothers and sisters or to your parents. Right? So, you see A, B, C with the feelings and behavior. So what we think affects our feelings and our behavior. Now let me show you the same event, but if we have a different thought. So I hear the window rattling, but in your mind, you think it is only the wind. Now if that's the case, how would you feel? You might feel slightly irritated. The wind. Then you go and tighten the window and go back to sleep. How about if it is this situation? Same event, you hear the window rattling and the thought that comes to your mind, oh, my husband, he forgot to fix the window like I told him to. Now, C, right? What is the feeling that shows up? You feel angry, you might feel a little bit irritated. So annoying. And then the behavior that will show along is tomorrow you'll make your husband or you yourself will make an appointment with the repairman. Now here's another way of thinking about it, another perspective. What if the same situation, right? I hear the window rattling and the thought that shows up in your mind. Oh, it's an old house. That silly window has always been rattling. If that's how you think, your belief, your thoughts, the feelings that come along, you feel amused. You probably ignore it and move on with your life, and hopefully one day when you have enough money, you'll fix the entire window. It's after all an old house. So can you see? It's only one event, the window rattling. But there were four ways of thinking or four perspectives about the window rattling. And with each different thought, you can see how the way you think, the way you see this particular event affects the way you feel. Four different thoughts, four different emotions, and four different behavior. So that's why it's important for us to be able to uncover and to know what are the thoughts that are affecting us. Is that thought helpful? Is that thought unhelpful? Is that thought kind or unkind? So when you learn to have kind thoughts and helpful thoughts, and you focus on that, then you'll find that your feelings will also be different, and the way you respond, your behavior, will also be different. Let's see, what does the Bible say that will help us? Okay, God's solution for us. Let's turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Way before psychology invented the ABC model, God already talked about it. Take captive of every thought and make it obedient to Christ. God already knows the way we think affects how we feel and how we react. So we have to learn to apply what God says. Take captive. What are the thoughts that are affecting me? Are those thoughts helping me? Or are those thoughts unhelpful? So if it's helpful, then you follow those thoughts. But if it's not helpful, learn to give yourself some distance and let go of those thoughts. So what are some strategies? Let me give you one. This is a picture of a thought diary that you can use. So you can see there are 5 columns. First one, the date and time of the event. And then next one is A, the activating event. What is the event that happened to you? And then the next column is your belief, B, or your thoughts that shows up when that event happened. And then C, the next 2 columns, C, first one is about the consequences of how you feel because of the way you think about that event. And finally, consequences about your reaction, your behavior. So every day, take some time, maybe at different point of the day, just as we eat 3 times a day, maybe morning, afternoon, night. Just take time to write down what event happened that caused you to have uncomfortable emotion or to cause you to have very harmful and unhelpful behavior, bad reaction. Take some time, write down the time and the date, Write down the event, write down the thoughts that showed up in column B, and write down the consequences in terms of your feelings and in terms of your behavior in column C. Let me give you an example of a thought diary. For example, 22nd June, 2 p.m. That's the date and the time that it happened. You were what? A, preparing a project presentation, right? You're making a presentation, getting ready for tomorrow. And then the thoughts that show up is, in column B, it will be bad. Have you ever had those thoughts? When you're doing a presentation, you feel like, oh no, it's going to be very bad. I have no ideas, I'm not good enough, etc., etc. Unkind thoughts. Write it down. Whatever thoughts that shows up, just write it down. And then what are the consequences? When you have this kind of thoughts, it's going to be bad, I have no ideas, fear or discouragement could show up. Or, not or, and you might freeze in terms of the way you do your work. All of a sudden, you kind of, I cannot do my work anymore because you're so afraid thinking about tomorrow. And you become blur, and maybe for some of us, we avoid doing our project and we go and play games to try to distract ourselves from doing our project. And what is so harmful about that? Last minute, right? Then last minute you go back to do your work and you find, oh no, I'm in such a rush, and then you get even more fear and more discouragement. And then the next day you might not be prepared to show your presentation. So another event that happened, okay, a difficult client appointment at 5 p.m. So that day you were going to see a client at 5 p.m. So when you went in there to see the client, thoughts flows, right? Oh, I don't know what to say. And then you begin to really breathe, quickly. I don't think I can help them. Oh no, I'm going to fail. He will think that I'm not good enough. If those thoughts, those negative thoughts flows in, how are you going to feel? Anxiety. You feel anxious. And what is not helpful? Your behavior, your reaction, you cannot think straight. You're not attentive during the meeting. You keep looking at your watch. Oh, I just need to go. I just need to go. Or you say the wrong things. Can you see how your thoughts affect the way you feel and the way you act? So use the thought diary, write it down. Okay, so another one, 9 p.m., you go home and then you have a disagreement with your spouse. Okay, so with your wife. So after the disagreement, you feel so, either angry or sad. So when you feel angry or sad, write down those thoughts. What thoughts came up? Or maybe you feel, if you're feeling sad, I'm a bad husband. I'm a terrible husband. She won't love me. She doesn't really care. Or if you're feeling angry, write down those thoughts. Huh, how come she don't appreciate me? I've done so much. And those irrational, unhelpful thoughts flow in your mind. So when you have those kind of thoughts, what happens? You avoid Cold War, don't want to talk to your spouse. Or for some of us, we surrender. Okay lah, whatever you say. And then after we surrender, we make very superficial agreement. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll follow what you say. But you don't mean it in your heart, then when you do that, next time you will have another quarrel or another disagreement with your spouse. So as the scripture says, an event happened, take captive of those thoughts. So how do we do that? Okay? Whenever you have troubling feelings, feeling that really trouble you, whether it's fear, anxiety, or anger, or sadness, take some time. Write down your thoughts. What are you thinking about yourself, your surrounding, your relationship, and your world? Write it down. Okay? Use that thought diary. So in the beginning, you probably have to use it every single day. And once you're familiar, it will automatically come. How long would that take? I'm not sure. Maybe a few months of just slowly writing down and being able to take captives of those thoughts. Now, how is this helpful for you? the thought diary? Number one, it gives you a little distance between you and your thoughts. And to be able to see, if you be able to see on a piece of paper and you can see, oh, these are my thoughts. I need to check it out whether these are reality or not. And you don't have to buy into the thought. And it gives you a little bit of control over your feelings and your behavior and choose what to follow instead of reacting. So basically it gives you some distance, some time as you write it down that you won't react. Instead you can act according what is appropriate and what is good, even though you have those uncomfortable feelings. And number two, how is it helpful? It helps you to identify key themes, key defeating thoughts in your life. Sometimes we don't even know what are the thoughts that are in our heart and our life that are defeating us. For example, with the example that I just showed you, right? If you look through all the thoughts with this particular person, one of the key defeating thoughts is, I am not good enough. At the end of the day, if you were to filter it down, the key theme that he believes about himself is, I am not good enough. So if you go around feeling this way, I'm not good enough, you will either be a very discouraged person, or if you are somebody who likes to react, a counter-attacker, you might be somebody who is always trying to prove himself. With the thought diary, you can identify the key defeating thoughts. Then in the future, what can you do with this? Knowing this key defeating thought, you can go deeper, go find a therapist, or go find your pastor or somebody spiritual, or somebody who has the know-how to help you work through this, dealing with these key defeating thoughts and help you to heal from the inside. You can go back and find the source. Where does this thought started from? And what are the behaviors and things that I say or do that maintain this belief in me? So deeper work, right? So this is the beginning, the first step, identifying the thought so they can have deeper work in the future. So brothers and sisters, I hope that is helpful for you. Mental health, mental well-being from a biblical perspective. Today we talk about one step to help you to have a better mental well-being. Learning to uncover those unkind, unhelpful, defeating thoughts in your life. I'll see you again. Bye.